That shit is its own language, bro. It's like if somebody come in and look at a music score, they be looking at the same way I'm looking at that. I'm like, what the fuck does this mean?
Yeah.
Can't read that shit.
That's how the graphics are. So what kind of questions do you want me to ask?
No, I thought that you had questions.
Oh, you mean music questions?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Do we have questions? Okay. What's up, bro?
What up?
How you?
Good.
It's another day in the neighborhood, huh? I got some questions for you.
Hopefully I have some answers.
I'm sure you do. You always do. So the first question is, in terms of monetization of music, what are like some general ways that you can monetize in a COVID era?
Anything that's digital. Anything that's digital. Like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook live streams, Mixer, anything that's digital. Music placements, of course.
Now say that you're like a beat maker and you're selling like a beat package, like a production package. I guess I know some people who do that via YouTube. Do you also suggest like direct sales via like Instagram and the messages, or do you think that that comes off a little too strong if you?
It could come off as salesy. I think it probably like you want to go with what works for you and your business model. But I feel like you're probably going to do better if you get people interested in your beat packs.
Yeah.
So maybe reaching out to other producers and seeing if like, can we do like a live stream together? Instagram allows you to do like 2 live streams, you know, like join a live stream. So I would do something like that with other producers, and also like put your music up, you know, put your music up and then just say like, hey, like I want to be on Twitch, or I want to be on whatever, you know, showing how I make beats or anything like that. Pretty much streaming, you know, any type of way that can let people know what it is that you do. And then I would just show examples of using it, like instead of trying to sell somebody on it, you know, which does work, it can work. But if everybody does it, then it's like, then the market's hyper saturated and everybody's like, oh, well, I'm not even going to watch that because he's probably just going to try to sell me a beat in the middle of it or at the end of it. And that's just going to stop them from even clicking the play button in the first place. So you probably want to build more of a system where it's just like, look, I'm just showing you. I'm showing you what I got. And if it's good enough, people will ask you about it. And then you can go and make the sale from there.
Okay. Now, what's a good way to pitch to ask someone to get on their Spotify playlist if you don't want to put up any money?
You got to contact bloggers for sure. Or any people with independent playlists. But like for actual Spotify playlists, you can use the Spotify tool. You can use the Spotify like submit to a Spotify curated playlist. That's like you use it through the Spotify artist account.
And there's a tool that allows you to actually submit your song to a particular playlist. Does it specify?
So it specifies you can only submit one song at a time. And when you have submitted a song, so you can only submit songs that are on pre-release. So you have to have like selected a pre-release option in your distributor. Then once it populates in the Spotify Artist tab, you can then pitch it, but you can only pitch one song at a time. So if it's an album, you can only pitch one song off of the album. If you separate your album, so this is one of the reasons why I had separated my album, my Black Heart Club, into I released all singles. And then I released it as an album. But it was so I gave myself an opportunity to try to playlist on every song. And then again, when the album came out, I was able to pick one song and try to play the stuff of that.
Can you submit songs for a playlist that has already been released?
So it doesn't allow you to select a playlist. What it does is it just kind of says you pick the song. It's going to ask you like what genre is the song, what sounds are being used in the song, and then like what instrument stuff. Then they'll give you like a description box. Maybe you can put like 150 characters in it or something like that. It could be more. But then you write a description of what the song is or whatever, and then you press submit, and it goes to... Likely, it probably just goes through an algorithm. Don't quote me on this, but just the way that that process works, I'm assuming that it just goes through an algorithm that kind of sorts all the things, and then it ends up on a curator's desk, and then they probably select what works.
I guess I'm more interested in knowing if the factor that I'm more interested in is knowing if the song should be released ahead of time. I'm sure that's a suggestion, but is that a requirement? Can you
pre-release? Yeah, but submitting a song that's already released to a playlist just really doesn't work. They're always looking for new music. You can have a song that blows up and then ends up on a playlist, that for sure. But when you're submitting music,
it shouldn't be released.
It should be new.
Okay. Yeah. And new means not released or just
right, like in the pre-release, because you can't submit it unless it's in the pre-release category. And this is using this. This is specific to using the Spotify artist tool. Gotcha. This is not specific to like going on LinkedIn and finding out who the curators are at Spotify and just contacting them directly, or going on Instagram and find out who creates playlists and then just messaging them directly.
And in that case, I guess it doesn't matter how old the song is.
It may. I think it's probably going to be specific to each individual curator.
But it's not a technical requirement.
Probably not, because you're going to be bypassing a tool. You know, you're going directly to a person who's in control of the playlist. Now, I would keep in mind that this person probably, you know, they have a job, and in order to keep their job, they have to have the right stuff on their playlist. So,
what type of people usually are the ones who have playlists? At least from your experience.
If they work for Spotify, yeah, like if they work for Spotify, like all of the playlists now are curated. They're pretty much owned by Spotify. So it's a different process. It's not like it was like 5 or 6 years ago where it was just like you and me could start a playlist. Yeah, that playlist could blow up, and then we could then accept. Like that still is a thing, but when you open up the Spotify widget, like that app, and it has like different categories, and so it's like pop music, whatever, country music. Those playlists that are generated in there, all of those are Spotify curated playlists. They all go through the system. You can always go, like right now, if I wanted to make a playlist on Spotify and make it public, you could come to my playlist. I could have like I could have like 100,000 subscribers to my playlist. That's a different than a Spotify curated playlist. That's just a playlist that's on Spotify. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't have a lot of listeners. Yeah. It can, so you can always do that too.
What's going on with Apple Music playlists? Wow.
Something I just thought about because it would help is that fitness people tend to have huge followings on their playlist. Like workout. So like if you wanted to, like, you know, you can get on like Instagram and Google like, you know, fitness or nutrition or I don't know, build a body, whatever, you know, the fitness hashtags are, whatever, and find out the people who do that. I guarantee you they have playlists. Workout playlists are huge.
Now, what's going on with like Apple playlists versus Spotify? Like, why is Spotify so prevalent, and why is Apple Music not really talked about in terms of playlists?
I just feel like Spotify is like the new kid on the block. It's cool. It's just a new kid on the block, and it's cool. Now, granted, from an artist perspective, Spotify pays substantially less than Apple Music does. So your plays on Apple Music are going to pay you more than the plays on Spotify. But to, you know, compare apples to apples, we're still talking about pennies. But there are more pennies coming from the Apple Music playlist.
I'd like to have more pennies instead of less.
Yeah, it's a less popular application, and it also
Apple Music.
Apple Music, yeah. I think because it's limited to people who have Apple devices. There are still a lot of people with Samsung and LG and Motorola and, you know, what other phones.
I don't understand those people.
And and so they're not going to be on Apple Music. Spotify has also done a great job for like outreach in terms of like, oh, like track your metrics. Like at the end of the year, everybody's always posting on like social, like this is what I listen to, or this is how many hours, this is my favorite song, or whatever. People post that. Artists post like, oh look, this is how many listens I got last year versus how many listens I got this year. Thank you guys so much. So it creates this like interactive dynamic between the artist and the fan and the music. Apple Music doesn't provide you with any of that. Spotify's also done a great job at giving acclaim to songwriters. You know, I was fortunate enough to be invited to the Spotify Secret Genius. You know, so like that's cool. Well, like, because as a writer, someone is acknowledging that you're a writer and inviting you in to work with other people and stuff. Like Apple Music isn't doing that. So that's another dynamic too. I can look up on Spotify, you can look up the songwriters and be like, oh, you can look up a songwriter and then see every song they've ever written. You can't do that on Apple Music. You also have the lyrics. Apple Music has lyrics too, but you have the lyrics. And then Apple Music doesn't give you the credits. Spotify shows you the credits. They show you who wrote it, they show you who produced it. If someone wanted to add the information, they'll show you who mixed it, and what studio, like, so they have liner notes.
So it's like more comprehensive. Now, what about like links to each of the platforms? Do you find from your perspective, or in addition to your experience, that having your own website and then putting all those different links in one place where you can pick it is best choice, or zoning in and concentrating on a specific link for like an Instagram profile, such as like your Apple Music link or your Spotify link? Or do you think that a better approach is putting a general link that lists all the different platforms at once?
Well, first of all, I'm going to advise that everyone get their own website. You should have your own real estate. Like, it's like buying a house. You know, like you should have your own real estate. It costs virtually no money to have a website up online. Doesn't matter what you use, whether it's like Squarespace or Wix or whatever. Get your own website. Own your own domain name, because you don't know what could happen to Facebook or Spotify, or like you just don't know what can happen to an application. We just watched like TikTok kind of have like, oh, like, is it going to be something that we can download? Is it something that we can't download? And regardless, just because the conversation came up, people took it off their phone. They stopped using it as frequently. Like, for someone, that was their income. And so their income experienced a dip due to something they had no control over. So I think that you want to shield yourself from that and have your own website. In terms of directing someone to a specific link, I think that's personal preference. I like to use Linktree, you know, but there are tons of other programs that do the same thing. But essentially, one link that when you press it, it opens up every link. Like, oh, you want to go to a YouTube channel, or
is Linktree independent of your website, or can you embed Linktree into your website?
You can embed anything into a website, pretty much. Okay. You just need to have like the right widget or plug-in. Really is what it is. So if you're using like WordPress or something, like something simple like WordPress or Wix or whatever, if you just make a button, the same way you would make like an Instagram button or a Facebook button, you can click it right from, you know, you can. One way that artists were getting, I feel like it's a little less common now, but getting like their Spotify subscribers up was to just have like the Spotify follow tab embedded into their website. So when you clicked it, it just automatically subscribed them to you.
Oh, so you're saying that in the website, they can just click the button one time and that would follow them as well, not just go to.
Yeah, you just have to build it in.
Okay. And I guess you'll do that, you just have to log in to Spotify if you're not already, like, say, log in.
Right.
Okay.
And there's a fair amount of people who have, like, as soon as they turn their computer on, it like logs them into everything. Like, so you're going to grab those people if they're going to click something. Yeah. But then also, I mean, if you are going to have a website, which I recommend that you do, you always, I don't care if it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you need to have some type of retention mechanism. need to be able to grab somebody's email or grab their phone number or their Facebook profile or whatever. Anytime you download any other application, they ask you for permissions, right? It's like, oh, log in with Facebook. Why do they want that? Because now they have like some kind of retention device. When you go into the permissions, the one thing that's always like grayed out that you can't change is your email. You have to have a grab because that's what you're selling. Doesn't matter how much like music you give away for free. Essentially, I think putting music on Spotify or Apple Music is giving it away for free, but for most artists, it's giving it away for free. But if you have somebody's email, you can make different types of choices. You can say like, oh, I want to send somebody something. It's tied to their Facebook, and now I've built in a calendar kind of thing that reminds me when every fan I have, when it's their birthday. And now I can set up my email if you're using like MailChimp or something like that. You can have it blast out like some kind of happy birthday message. If you really want to get into it, because maybe your fan base is small at the time, you only have like 100 fans, then send them personalized messages, or you want to send them a personal piece of music, or you want to take a personal photograph with their name on it or something like that, saying happy birthday. Like, that is the kind of thing that really draws somebody in and then makes them say, sure, I'll spend $50 on a t-shirt. You know, which is like they'd have to stream your music an ungodly amount of times to pay you $50.
Facts.
So that's kind of why you want to do that.
What about selling merchandise in the post-performance age where, you know, it's COVID has mostly on digital? Do you have a recommended strategy for merchandise now that, you know, the easiest method usually was putting it outside of a show?
I don't think that was the easiest method. I am certainly on record saying numerous times that merchandise is not something that you want to like just quantify into active income. You have like active income and you have passive income. So active income with merchandise would be like, oh, at my show, buy my shirt. But how many shows are you playing? And like even if you are playing a show, it's like even if you play a show every day, and then play a show for like an hour, you can only sell to those people that are directly in front of you for 1 hour at that point in time. Which is fine, do that. But also make it passive where you should have an online store. You should have a merch store where you are selling your merch 24 hours, like so while you're in bed, sleep, and if somebody, I don't know, is in California if we're on the East Coast and it's 4 hours later while you're asleep at 2 a.m., it's like 10 over there, and they happen to be online and they like your stuff and they want to support you and they can buy a shirt if they want to right then and there. You want to make sure that you have both forms of income covered. So I think that it's probably, I don't think that it's really any different, to be honest, because if you weren't selling like that before, you need to be. And also, most people aren't buying merch because they like your music like that. It's like they want to support you as an artist. You can't listen to a t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's just to be like, look, I'm a part of this thing. I listen to this music. Now you see it and you know that I listen to this and I have an A$AP Rocky shirt on or something like that and you like it. Now there's like some synergy or, you know, like the shirt doesn't sing. It's a different thing. It's a different medium in the market.
Yeah, I'm thinking about having a lot of people wear the book writer triangles on their shirt. Now, what about after?
Right, so you want to build out all of this. You want to have these things built out.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now, what about during like COVID? What would you say to artists who previously was making money doing shows and they're unable to do as many shows or not shows at all? What would you recommend to those artists to kind of supplement their income or even replace temporarily during these unique times?
Well, I think you said a key word. You said artist. I think if somebody's an artist, then money was never the reason why they were doing what they were doing in the first place. Someone is a performer, or someone is a musician, or someone is a, you know, like that's different. And that's not to put shade on anything, but there are different motivations. An artist creates the art because it's needed in the world. A musician might be playing music because they enjoy playing music, but they want to make money off of it too. A performer is specifically saying, I want to go out and do this particular thing. So it's like you can perform. That's just one aspect of performing. Like if you care about performing, then you can turn on a camera and perform. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. If receiving money for your performance or whatever it is, I don't know, put out a tip jar or whatever it is, and if it's like not enough money, then at least it tells you that you're not an artist.
Yeah, or at least not a performer.
Yeah, well, you know, I would say that no, you're still probably a performer. Yeah. You just need to find a performance that pays you.
That's interesting. Now, what about, like, you have a lot of artists right now that are seeing a saturated market. Let's say an artist puts out a song that kind of sounds similar to somebody else. Do you recommend that as a strategy to make money to initially come out? Or should they just continue that trajectory, you think, like of kind of following what the wave is?
So I'm going to harp on the word that you use, which is artist. I think if you are just doing something that's not unique, you are probably being artistic. You know, like if I paint a painting in the style of Jackson Pollock, it can be a very amazing painting, but it's artistic. It's not being an artist, because I would be creating something that's brand new to the world. And so I think that there's a big difference between that, and it's not like you need to care about either. I think it's like you should identify. Plenty of people are very successful being artistic. And then there are some people who are artists. And there are plenty of artists who are not successful. You know, so it's like it just depends on what you want to do. And successful in the terms of like being world renowned, or successful in the terms of like I get paid for what I do. The part of the choice of being an artist is understanding that you're not necessarily doing it for money or for recognition. You're doing it because it needs to be done.
Now, I had another question as well. This is more of a technical question. What is the relationship between the Spotify and like ASCAP and so you have Spotify, ASCAP, and then you have like the DistroKid? Is the streams money you get recorded in DistroKid, or is that recorded in ASCAP, or is it both? Okay, so streaming is specifically related to mechanical royalties. Mechanical royalties are like the sale of this hard copy. We don't have new language, we just continue to use the old language. There's no hard copies anymore, so there's no mechanism, but it's still a hard copy. Right, that's a mechanical royalty, and it pays you out directly. Spotify pays you out directly, and it's going to be in your distributor account, whether that's CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, United Masters, you know, whatever it is, whatever you're using to upload, they're going to store the money for you because it's direct payment. ASCAP is different because ASCAP is for like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, PROs, performing rights organizations. Those are for like composers and publishers. So that's really more about sync royalties. Synchronization royalties are royalties that get paid out when like your music is synchronized, paired along with some type of like visual medium. And then there are like print royalties, which would be like, you know, your Harry Fox agency, which is going to pay you out for like the score of your music. And would that go into the ASCAP account as well, like the score portion?
No.
Where would that?
Harry Fox.
Okay.
So the Harry Fox agency is they're gonna.
So you'll get paid independently.
These are separate. So every medium of royalty has its own entity that collects for those mediums.
Okay. So the publishing for like the sync, that would be like if it goes on TV, and then that would be correlated. They'll throw that would be a separate account for collecting that money.
Assuming that you own a publishing company. If you don't own a publishing company, then you'll just get a check from your publisher.
Okay. And the publisher could be the news station that you made a deal with.
Yeah, sure. So if it's let's say it's like Sony ATV, that's like their publishing branch.
Yeah.
So if you have a publishing deal with Sony ATV, like they will, whatever your agreement says, yeah, they will cut you a check for that. You just get something in the mail from
And
Sony ATV.
if you have a publishing company, then the deal would be negotiated between the two publishing companies.
If you are, let's just keep it simple and say you are the sole publisher of something, just one publisher, then yes, if you get a placement on ABC, the ABC will have that money in your ASCAP account if you're an ASCAP artist, or your BMI account, or your CSAC account.
Okay. And I do believe that that is the extent of the questions that I
Right.
had.
All right.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Niggas gonna be so confused.
Why?
Because like I just already know that niggas gonna be confused as shit about that. They gonna need a visual aid.
Oh, with the
Distro kid, blah blah, sync royalties, like mechanical royalties, print, you know, like they're not gonna get it. Niggas not gonna get it. They're gonna be like, yeah, man, I got these streams, and I see the money coming. My distro kid. That's the only money that they're gonna understand.
Well, this ain't not for y'all to understand. This is for y'all to watch, and this is for us to practice.
Yeah.
If y'all understand, that's a side benefit. I just want to get some pussy. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Those are the questions that you had.
Yeah, I think I may be skipping some. I forgot to write them down. I'm thinking of questions. When you kept saying question, I'm thinking of just doing the same questions I had there in a different spot. So my brain went to an entirely different
Gotcha.
place.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was like something direct that like you needed for what you were doing.
I probably would. Well, guess we got to do another one. But yeah, I did that last question. Definitely, I forgot because I wanted to know about like, damn, like, what the fuck is the difference in the ASCAP? Like, I want to know which money is allotted. I actually wanted to ask you if you, I'm not sure if Ryan put me on that ASCAP or whatever.
Even if he didn't, I mean, even if it's not there,
I just want to.
He'll pay you out.
Yeah, and it's not about paying out. It's just I want to see what that looks
like. Yeah, but so you can see what it looks like if you just like all of your songs that you have currently up right now. You should have those all registered.
So do I have to register?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Each song
it'll say
album?
You're on ASCAP, right?
Yes.
It'll just say register work.
And
it's on like the left-hand tab.
And I just have to find them?
No, you have to put it in. So like all like let's say you just put out Legends of the Book Writer, 1985, right?
That's 2015.
2015. Why did I say 1985?
Because that's the year you was born. I know you wasn't, but
I was not. Yeah. So
keep that number.
I wonder why. Yeah. So anyway, you have what 7, 8, 9 songs on there?
9. Yeah.
All right. So you're gonna go over. Actually, I have a video that shows you how to do this. If you want to watch it instead of just this explanation, I have a 3-part series. Well. Yeah, I have a 3-part series that explains this process. It's on Instagram. You're gonna sign into ASCAP. You're gonna go to register work. You're gonna pull it up. You're gonna write the title. You're gonna put your name. You're gonna put like whoever was involved who has ownership in this. You know, if it's just you, then it's just you. You're gonna put that as. If you have a publishing deal with a publisher, you'll put the publisher's information in. If you don't, you'll leave it blank. Because if you leave it blank, then ASCAP becomes your publisher. If you own your own publishing company, you'll list your own publishing company, and you'll also put its IPI number.
What's IPI?
It's essentially just like your social security number for that account. Yes. So, because you have an IPI number as an artist as well.
So I already have an IPI?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be up under, like, it'll say it on the side.
Now I have 2 ASCAP's accounts. I have one for writers, right? Mm-hmm. And the other one's for...
publishing.
I thought both of them was publishing.
No. So you'll have one for writing. You'll have another one for publishing.
Okay, so...
These are two separate things.
So... As a writer,
when you made your account, Does it say artist account, or does it say artist and publisher account? Or like it won't. Sorry.
Right, so
first of all, we're using the wrong language. It will not say artist account.
Yeah.
It will say composer.
Composer.
Right.
I got one for composer. That's the writer, right?